Hi everyone. Welcome to our class, Microbiology and Parasitology. I am Joe Marison, your professor for this subject, and this would be our first lecture. Now, before anything else, please subscribe to this channel so that you can get the latest videos on the different subjects that I'm teaching. And for now, in our microbiology and parasitology, we'll be discussing about Unit 1 entitled The Invisible World. So for this section or for this part, we'll discuss about what microbiology is and what are the important introductory information about microbiology. But before we take off in our discussion, let's just answer one question. Have you ever been thankful that you did not live during the Middle Ages? Di ka ba natutuwa na ikaw ay hindi nabuhay noong kapanahunan ng Middle Ages? Well, I hope your answer is yes. And the reason for that is because of the following. Well, we'll look at some of the interesting yet horrific medical practices during the Middle Ages. And I think after natin ma-discuss itong horrific medical practices na ito, you would be thinking, buti na lang hindi ako nabuhay nung Middle Ages. So let's begin with the first one. The first horrific medical practices that was done what done in the Middle Ages is bloodletting. So from the name itself, you can see here, blood is being let out of our body. People believe that diseases and sicknesses happen because there is an unbalance of fluids in the body. So ang paniniwala ng mga tao sa kapanahonang ito ay dahil sa unbalance ang fluid sa loob ng katawan kaya nagkakaroon ng kasakitan. And that is why bloodletting is done. To restore health, they remove the bad blood in the patient's body. So they make an incision and then let the blood uh, flow out. So you could imagine how horrific itong practice na ito. And just to solidify yung idea na ito, one trivia is if you know the first president of the United States of America, who is George Washington, he was the person who led the American colonies against the British, and they won their independence against them. So what happened was after many years after their fight for independence, ay nagkaroon ng very high fever and sickness si George Washington, and the diagnosis of the doctor is there is an imbalance of fluids inside of him. So what they did is to make an incision and they let the blood flow out. So nag-bloodletting sila. But unfortunately, George Washington, his wounds became infected and he later died. So hindi si George Washington ay hindi namatay sa bala ng gera, kundi namatay siya sa kamay ng kanyang mga doktor. Second horrific practice during the Middle Ages would be trepanation. Ano yung trepanation? Well, as you can see in the picture here, trepanation is the practice or the medieval practice of boring a hole, gagawa ng butas through the skull when patients are sick or have a mental illness. Kaya parang ganito, masakit ang ulo mo, halika, butasin natin ang ulo mo. Now, the reason they believe this is because this would be releasing the evil spirit that would be causing that disease or mental sickness. The people at this time, dahil sa kakulangan ng information, kakulangan ng kaalaman, they believe that sicknesses are brought about by evil spirits. So para alisin ang masamang espiritu ng sakit ng ulo ay gagawa ng butas sa ulo. And that is one horrific practice. Another horrific practice, well, not really horrific, but disgusting, is animal dung ointment. This has been done during the ancient times as well, not only during the Middle Ages. So ang ginagawa dito ay the use of animal and even human excrement, waste products, sa Tagalog ay dumi ng hayop, saka dumi ng tao, and they make it into a paste or ointment and rub this as a cure-all remedy. O makatibang yung ang skin mo, ito paki pakilagay ito sa skin mo, pakipahid ito. Oh, ikaw ba nilalagnat? Pakipahid ito. So you can imagine that you are putting down excrement, putting down waste products, putting on yung dumi ng hayop sa ng tao sa iyong mukha saka sa iyong katawan. It's really a disgusting practice. So that is ito yung mga practices na ginagawa ng mga sinaunang tao because of the lack of information. So sicknesses were blamed on several things during the Middle Ages, and this would be, for one, the misalignment of planets and stars. Another reason would be divine punishment from God. So kaya ang solution o ang cure na ibinibigay hindi maglagay ng anumang mga ointment or herbal kundi to do a pilgrimage as prescribed or or a holy relic should be bought. Some people believe that the sicknesses are brought about by bad smell, and some would believe that it's due to bad luck, kaya divination or so divinations and charms are prescribed. So you could imagine the kind of life, at least in the medical arena during the Middle Ages and even during the ancient times. So we are very familiar now what causes sickness because we know because we are now in the modern times that sicknesses are actually caused by microorganisms. So if you are infected by microorganisms, more likely than not, you will be developing sicknesses if your immunity is unable to root out to mga pathogenic microorganisms na ito. So we really have a lot to thank for the scientific progress that we have that allows us to know about microorganisms today. So these are some of the practices that are horrific, disgusting, and interesting during the Middle Ages. Kaya balik tayo sa question natin, aren't you glad that you didn't live during the Middle Ages? If you ask me, buti na lang hindi ako nabuhay sa Middle Ages. Now, with that introduction, let's now begin with our discussion today. So the learning objective that we have for today's discussion is define and note the introductory concepts of microbiology. Number 2, to describe how our ancestors improve food using invisible microbes and explain sicknesses and disease. And the third learning objective is for you students to describe key historical events associated with the birth of microbiology. So we'll go through that through the whole of our discussion this time around. We'll also be looking at what is microbiology, talk about spontaneous generation, the germ theory, Louis Pasteur, Robert Koch, and other important personalities in microbiology and how to classify these microorganisms. So let's ask the important question. What is microbiology? Now, you're already very familiar. The word micro means small, bio means life, and the word logos means study. So putting all this together, microbiology, simply defined, is the study of living things so small that they can't be seen with the naked eye. So hindi siya makita gamit lamang ng ating mata. Organisms that are microscopic in dimension, so that is what we call as microorganisms, usually too small to be seen with the naked eye, as we mentioned a while ago. That is why in order for us to see the microorganisms, this can only be seen with the aid of a microscope. So kailangan natin gumamit ng microscope para makita natin ang mga microorganisms na ito. And because these microbes are invisible to the naked eye, this is the reason why microbiology is the last developed among the major divisions of biology, and the other two being botany and zoology. Now, we know this, microorganisms are everywhere, and they are what we call as shapers of ecosystems. They are also the reason for infectious diseases and also used for industrial processes. We'll be looking later on at these three things in the next chapters to come. This table 1.2 will be showing the distribution of microorganisms in and on the earth. So we can see here that indeed microorganisms are found everywhere. So in the marine subsurface, so this would be the oceans, but this will be just below the surface of the ocean. 66% of all microorganisms are found here. Terrestrial subsurface, just below the surface of land, 26% of microorganisms are found there. And we can see surface soil, 4.8%, the ocean surface 2.2%, and all other habitats 1.0%. And these all other habitats include the polar ice caps, the deserts and all. So these are would be the distribution of microorganisms. So we can see here that the oceans, subsurface and terrestrial subsurface would be amounting to about 92% of the microorganisms distribution. Now, in addition to those information, most microorganisms are actually harmless to humans and many are actually helpful. So, hindi lahat ng microorganisms ay nagbibigay o nagdadala ng sakit sa atin. We may have the misconception that when we say microorganisms, all of them are disease-causing, but that's not actually true. Most are harmless and some are actually helpful. They play fundamental roles in ecosystems on Earth. That is why the microorganisms are called the backbone of food chains and food web, because they are the base food of many of these food chains and food webs. In addition to that, microorganisms are used to make biofuels, medicines, and even foods. So for the biofuel, we are very familiar of microorganisms producing methane, and when we gather the methane, pwede itong gamitin bilang fuel like LPG, o pwede itong gamitin, can be used to burn in order to burn as fuel. Another is the medicine. We're very familiar with diabetes, and diabetes can be maintained by injecting insulin, and insulin ay nakukuha, or we get the insulin from microorganisms that have been genetically engineered with human insulin genes, so that right now we can get uh, insulin in a large amount using bacteria. Dati kasi, para makakuha tayo ng insulin, kailangan tayong kumuha ng sheep and other animals and then kill this in order to get the pancreas, at yung pancreas naman ay pipigain by some process in order to extract a very minute amount of insulin. So that because of the bacteria genetically engineered, the cost of insulin has plummeted down. We are very familiar also how microbes are helpful in production of food. So examples here are beer, cheese, soy sauce. All of these are by the action or the result of the action of microorganisms. Even our bodies are filled with microbes, and our skin alone is home to trillions of them. So ang skin natin, both the outside and inside of our body, are actually filled with a lot of microorganisms. We call this as the normal human microflora. So ang skin natin ay marami nito. Also our gastrointestinal tract. And we actually have to be thankful for these microorganisms, for our microflora, because they protect us against pathogenic microbes. So sa paanong paraan? The normal microflora in our skin and in our gastrointestinal tract actually carpets these surfaces so that any pathogenic microorganism that come in contact either to our skin or get ingested and into our gastrointestinal tract, hindi sila dumidikit kasi ang mga microflora, normal microflora natin, actually carpets yung surfaces na ito, thereby lessening the frequency of adherence of this pathogenic microorganisms, which then lessens the frequency of sicknesses brought about by this pathogenic microorganisms. So ang dami talaga natin ipagpapasalamat sa mga microorganisms na ito.